Bonjour from Canada, and welcome to MarksNParks with Brennan. Come with me to explore the Canadian Rockies.
Every day brings new light to help us on our way. Always taking my breath, whether sun or rain. The wind will carry us over. That horizon we see is getting closer. This is why we live, for moments like this. This is why we live.
We traveled north from Montana and made it to the border of our northern neighbor, Canada. My parents handed over the passports, answered a few questions about our visit to Canada, and we were on our way. Our goal for Canada was to explore the Canadian Rocky Mountains. We were especially interested in the areas around Banff and Jasper, but our first campground was located in Kimberley, British Columbia. It was a very pretty campground located on a river. We saw deer several times inside the campground. This was our stop to relax.
This is why we live, for moments like this. This is why we live.
It was only a few hours to our next campground, Spring Creek, which is located in Canmore, a town pretty close to Banff. As we got close, we had to enter Banff National Park. We were excited to see the bighorn sheep as soon as we entered. We also saw a bear and stopped where several other cars had pulled off to see a moose. Unfortunately, we missed the moose. He had just walked back into the woods, and the ranger quickly came back along to get traffic moving again. A really cool thing in Canada's national parks is that they have land bridges. These have cut down accidents involving wildlife by 80%. It allows the animals to cross the highway without injuring themselves or people traveling. I thought that was a great idea. When we arrived at Spring Creek, the view was almost unreal. We were completely surrounded by mountains. My dad was loving it. He squeezed our camper into a small campsite, all while avoiding a light pole that made it extra challenging. He handles our camper like a pro. Once we were set up, my parents planned the activities for our next few days. They weren't too excited about the forecast of rain for our stay, but decided to just make the best of it. Our first stop was Lake Louise. This was the main reason we came. We heard that you should get an early start for parking, so we did. We were lucky to get a space in the parking lot and not have to take the shuttle. We could see some beautiful color from the lake when we reached the creek flowing from it. As we got to the top of the hill, we stood along with many others in complete amazement. Even though it was misting rain and very cloudy, the lake was stunning. We took some pictures and decided to explore the luxurious Fairmont Hotel before hiking the lake. Because we got such an early start, my parents didn't cook a big breakfast, so we went in the restaurant to enjoy breakfast at the hotel. Next, we took the short hike around Lake Louise. The turquoise color of the lake can be found in other rivers and lakes in the Canadian Rockies too. It's caused by rock flower. Not the kind of flower you cook with, but a flower created by glacial erosion. The rock flower has very tiny particles of rock that are gathered as the glacier moves down the mountainside. Because the particles are so small, the glacial flower is suspended in the melted water. When it flows into the rivers and lakes, it causes the water to look cloudy. The water can reflect different colors too. Usually, the rivers will look gray, light brown, blue-green, or a milky white color. But the glacial lakes will appear as a turquoise color. It almost doesn't look real. Canada had so many beautiful rivers and lakes. After our time at Lake Louise, we planned to visit Moraine Lake. But when we got in the truck to make the drive, the road was closed and we were told we would have to take the shuttle. By this time, we had lost our parking place. We opted to take a scenic drive on the Bow Valley Parkway for our next hike in Johnston Canyon. We had heard that the Bow Valley Parkway would be our best chance of spotting wildlife. We saw a deer, an elk, and a couple of bears. Mom was on the lookout for a moose, but no such luck. We did see so many colorful wildflowers, so Mom enjoyed that.
It's getting closer.
About a mile before reaching Johnston Canyon, we began to notice vehicle after vehicle parked beside the road. When we reached the full parking lot, we realized this was going to be an extremely crowded place to hike. We changed our plan and headed to explore the town of Banff. In case you haven't figured it out yet, my parents don't prefer places that are crowded. When we reached the town of Banff, we quickly realized that this would be a drive around the town and back out with no stops. We were actually glad about this decision because the rain returned before we could even get out of town. Crowded area plus rain equals grumpy parents.
The wind will carry us over. That horizon we see is getting closer.
My Gran and Pa told us to be sure to travel the parkway to the ice fields while we were in Canada. We were so glad we took their advice. Our entire second day was spent making the trip toward Jasper and exploring everything in between. We were completely surrounded by the Canadian Rocky Mountains, and they seem so huge. They're a little different from the American Rockies. Our Rocky Mountains are made of metamorphic and igneous rock, but the Canadian Rockies were not formed by volcanic eruptions and have no granite. Instead, there are layers of sedimentary rock like shale and limestone. They are not rounded as much as the American Rockies. The Canadian Rockies have some very jagged edges due to being heavily glaciated. Our day on the Icefield Parkway was a great day of hiking and taking in the beauty of the Canadian Rockies. One of our hikes was to the Bow Summit, which overlooks Peyto Lake. It was a steep hike, but not too terribly bad. And it was definitely worth the effort. The lake looks like the head of a coyote. It's a glacier-fed lake, so it has that spectacular color like Lake Louise.
Every day brings new light to help us on our way. Always taking.
We stopped for a picnic lunch alongside a beautiful turquoise river. While eating lunch, Mom and Dad were able to spot a mountain goat with the binoculars. I watched a ground squirrel play peekaboo. We enjoyed our time by the river.
Closer. This is why we live. For moments like this. This is why we live. For moments like this,
We continued our drive enjoying all the beautiful scenery until we reached the ice field. I couldn't believe the size of the glaciers on the ice field. They were amazing. It was cold and windy too. We took a few pictures, checked out the price of the bus tour, and decided to head back.
carry us over. That horizon we see is getting closer. This is why we live.
On the way back, we stopped for a hike up to Parker's Ridge. My I did not enjoy this hike. It was so cold and such a long hike going up, up, up. We didn't realize it would be so long, but my parents kept on thinking that we were almost there, so we kept going. After about 45 minutes, we finally made it to the top. Our truck in the parking lot below looked like a tiny speck. I couldn't believe we were so high up, and I was ready to get back down. This was probably my least favorite part of the day. We were all exhausted after the hike and agreed we had enough adventure for the day. If you ever visit Canada, you should definitely drive the Icefields Parkway. Our time in Canada wasn't quite long enough to explore all that we wanted to see, but it was time to travel across the country to make our way over to Washington State. My pa encouraged us to travel Highway 1, the Trans-Canada Highway. Although the first day was a rainy day for traveling, the second day was sunny. We enjoyed all the unique and beautiful sights along the way. I have a feeling we'll return to Canada again with a better plan for our time to see what we'll want without all the crowds. We learned that it's best to start early every day in Canada. Maybe next time, Mom will see that moose. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed our visit to Canada. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you back in the good old USA for my next video.
This is why we